Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, enlightenment is a non-violent journey. It's a non-violent because it's a inward, backward, and individual journey. In this journey, we are stepping away from the world. So, when we are stepping away from the world, we don't have to engage with the people. Most of the time, we feel the fire, we feel the friction, especially when we are participating with the world, isn't it? The fire is there because of the differences in our belief, our preference, our ideas, how we, move with those preferences. And when the preference is not matched, there is the heated situation, comes in. And when you are stepping back away from the world, away from the people, you are already cutting down the aggression, cutting down the friction, isn't it? Cutting down the fight. You're already stepping back. So, in that sense, we are stepping away from the violent. Now, there's still one thing that is violent within. The source of violence, source of aggression, source of fight, which is our mind, isn't it? Even we can step back away from the world, we are still carrying our mind with us, and the mind is always going to be there. So, to drop the fight of the mind, we have to step back on the mind. And that is the main practice to awaken oneself. Now, what's happening in the world to step back in the mind, the violence of the mind, the aggression of the mind, we tend to put something in the mind as a focal point, and we focus on that focal point to make the mind settle. But that kind of practice is temporary. When you are focused on something on the mind, the aggression of the mind starts to die down eventually because of the shift in focus. In the beginning, no doubt, there is still that the inner turmoil is there, but you're controlling with the reason, you're controlling with the positivity. You're telling yourself the purpose of controlling, or the purpose of having this practice of control coming in. Because of that purpose, you are able to tame the mind. Again, even if you are able to tame the mind, is a temporary. How to make the violent mind to loses its power, to make it lose the grip, the stubbornness, is by understanding the nature of the mind. And how do we understand the nature of the mind is by tracing the mind backward. It's about subtracting the mind, or it's about dismantling the mind. When you dismantle the mind by tracing the mind backward to its root, and if you're able to dissolve the root altogether, and that's the way to be free from the mind, the violent, aggressive mind. And that itself is enlightened. That's the way to enlighten oneself to the truth. So the backward journey has to be taken. Now, when you are taking the backward journey, in the beginning, you feel that ease or comfort in stepping back. Yes, if you're new to this approach, there will be difficulties in tracing back the mind. But once you are able to sit with the tracing, you'll be able to trace it to its root. You can trace the mind to its root. And once you get to the root, you'll have a trouble going further back to subtract or dismantle, because the spiritual journey is asking us to let go the mind so that we can get to the truth. And when you come to this point, now the fear starts to resurface in you. And when your fear starts to resurface in you, there is that inner turmoil. The inner battle starts if you're continuing. And you have to go through that, dark phase of the journey. And when you're able to cross that phase to the other side, then you become free. Some people just give up at this stage. They're able to go to figure out the root cause of the suffering or pain, and then they realize that you have to, let go your attachment. You have to, dissolve your fear, and people just bounce back to their mundane movement in their life, which is again struggle. Continuing the struggle, continuing with life with pain, and that happens. And giving up is not the way to resolve the issue in life. Staying and investigating is the way to be free. So, staying on the journey, you see the attachment, you see the fear. Now you have to let go your attachment, and this is where the fear resurface big time. And when you see your fear, by understanding that you have to let go your attachment, and that's the perfect start. That's actually the start of the journey. Before tracing back, it's just the, surface work. The real work is when you see the fear, by seeing the attachment and understanding the attachment must go. Now that is a direct experience of struggle. Now working on that, is the way to do it. Now when you see the fear coming in, it feels like the violent experience. But notice that this violent experience, this turmoil, is still within you as an idea. You're not acting out of that, that mental ripples in the outer world. So it's still, there's a friction is happening within as an idea, and and working on that is to dissolve that friction. Even you see that aggression, this fear, feels like a violent path. But recognize this is an individual, inward, backward movement within you. So you don't have to participate with the world. So when you don't participate with the world, we can see this as a non-violent journey. Even again, when you're feeling the heat. Now, the only way to dissolve this inner turmoil, inner violence, as a, you know, as an experience, we can trace it to its root and eliminate the root by just working directly on why do I feel this fear. Now the fear is there because of in the idea of letting go, and when you have to let go, there's uncertainty, there's no comfort left. So that's why that there is that friction. When you see the friction, it's the sign of how much ego is ingrained in you. And remember, enlightenment journey is about dissolving the ego. Only the ego self, experience the fear of losing the comfort, losing the stability, losing the fun. Only ego feels it. Notice that when you are working on this journey, when you feel the fear of uncertainty, fear of losing, all this you can see in you. When you can see that happening in you, is the ego experiencing, not you, the real you experiencing. The real you is watching that the ego is feeling the heat in dismantling. The real you will never fluctuate. The extension on you as an ego self, as a layer, feels threatened by the backward movement of dissolving. And that's the whole purpose of this practice, It's about seeing the ego's instability and working backward to dissolve the ego is the way to awaken oneself to its own nature, the unchanging nature. And that is freedom from the mind, freedom from the conflict, freedom from the fear, freedom from the make-believe reality. So, again, this journey is a inward, backward, individual journey. You're walking on your own without the world. And when it's that, we can see that as a non-violent journey because you're walking inward, So, and how do we make this happen? Is by tracing the mind backward to its root. The simple example I can give you on how to step back is notice one of the attachment in your life. Okay? Now, enlightenment is asking you to let go that attachment. Now, can you let go that attachment? Now, when you hear letting go, now notice how fast there's a fear of letting go, because that attachment is providing you the sense of security. Losing the security means stepping into the unknown. Unknown feels fear. Now, when you feel the fear, ask yourself, why am I experiencing the fear? Just that. Because of so and so. Make it personal. So why am I experiencing this fear? Sit with that question. That question will give you the answer. Okay, now whatever answer comes in from the first question, you ask again another why using the answer. Why is that important? Or why do I have this answer? That why is going to make you step back in the mind and gives you another answer. So basically sit with the why. Whatever answer comes in, you ask why. Why is it important, or why do I have this, or where is this coming from? So this is a simple way to figure out the root cause of the fluctuation, and the same way staying with the why is going to help us to see to move back all the way towards no mind. And when you go to the no mind, when you ask yourself, who am I? Now that who am I is going to make you click. You're going to catch yourself, and when you catch yourself, that's where your ego drops. By seeing yourself, by seeing your ego rippling at the base. When you see that, that makes you free from your conflicting mind, free from your fear. And that is awakening to one's true nature, the unchanging nature. And that is true freedom, my friend. So, anyway, your journey, inward journey, is a non-violent journey. If you are having the aggression while being part of the spiritual path, that already shows that too much ego in the person. And remember, figuring out the truth is about dissolving the ego. That's the real purpose, guys. Anyway, hope this video makes sense to some extent. Hope you are walking backward. Keep going. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.